Hi, my name is Isabella Johnston, the Intern Whisperer, and today's tip of the week is about skills-based hiring. So what is skills-based hiring? This is a type of recruitment that moves beyond the requirements of education and experience and focuses on the skills match between candidates and the roles. More employers are becoming aware that assessing candidates on their abilities and potential rather than degrees and job histories can provide instant economic opportunities for millions of job seekers, help relieve talent shortages, and increase diversity and strengthen the internal mobility in the workplace. For example, in May 2022, the state of Maryland announced that it would remove four-year college degree requirements for almost 50% of its positions. This change is revolutionary as a movement, and it really allows qualified and non-degree candidates to be considered for opportunities. So if you'd like to learn more, contact me on LinkedIn if you would like to discuss skills-based hiring, assessments, or creating an intern program that upskills your employees as well as your interns. So welcome to the Intern Whisperer. Our show's all about the future of work and innovation. So welcome to the Intern Whisperer. Our show is all about the future of work and innovation. And today's guest is Diante Lawrence. He's an entrepreneur, a realtor, an author, and he's going to be, getting swag out there. He's going to be a producer of a TV show. So I'm really excited to have you as a guest on the show. So thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Oh, me too. So we met at the Orlando Science Center when they did this super cool thing about STEM, and you were there and you were launching a book.
Yep.
And we're going to talk about that. But I always kick my show off where I ask the guests, what are 5 words that describe you and why those 5 words?
Yeah. So I love this question. It was so good. It made me sit back and think, right? So what came to mind was consistent, right? Dynamic, joyous, determined, and blessed. Those are the 5 that, stood out to me when you asked me that question.
Okay, so let's go ahead and go through that. Consistent. Why did you say consistent?
For the people that know me and that are going to watch me,
Yeah.
I've always been consistent my whole entire life. I've just picked that up in order to be successful. And when I am successful is I'm consistent at something. I always say you're not going to out consistent me. You know what I mean? So that's just in my nature, who I've been, like very routine person. And it's just part of who I am. So
yeah, processes are what make everything move forward. That's what it sounds like. Yeah.
Yep, for sure.
What was your next one? Dynamic?
Dynamic. Yes. So a lot of people tell me I'm a personality. You know what I'm saying? So always been like that, had huge dreams, and we'll get into that when we go into the book. But I've always been like, hey, I want to be an astronaut. Hey, I want to be a professional wrestler. Hey, I want to do this. Hey, I want to do that. And never really been shy about expressing, my vision and what I see for myself and what I'm going to be able to bring to this planet. So that's what dynamic comes to.
Well, that's good, because most people, I don't think, know who they are. And you really struck me as who you are and what your purpose is.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So next one, joyous. Why joyous?
Joyous. It's deeper than happy. It's like
it is.
Just inside, even when you have your down days, my brain is wired to it always goes to a positive, right? I always am able to find joy in the moment, which I'm grateful for and thankful for. So that's just my temperament. Always been a joyous person and a thankful person. So.
I'm going to guess your parents had some help with that.
Of course,
Yeah.
Both my parents in my life. So that's a huge, advantage already. In addition to that, majority of my family in my life, uncles, aunts, cousins.
That's cool.
Grandparents. So.
Blessed. Why blessed?
Blessed. For sure blessed. Because you just have to understand the opportunity that I have been given, right? Not only just with the book, my career, the rooms that I've been blessed to be put in, the people that have been blessed to meet. I mean, I met you at the Science Center,
Right?
right?
Yeah.
And just what the people have seen in me. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times people don't whether take you under your wing or open up a door for you or introduce you to somebody. I mean, offline, we were just talking about an introduction that you just thought of that you're going to introduce to me. So that has been apparent in my life like tenfold all the time. And I recognize that. I'm grateful for that. So definitely blessed, hands down. Hands down.
And I skipped the other word because I felt like joyous and blessed, they actually go together as they're very complementary to each other. So your last word was driven. That seems to marry well with consistent, though.
Yeah. And I believe my why is to be an example. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the ideas that, come down from above for me to imprint on this planet, I believe, I'll be doing not only myself, but future generations a disservice by not bringing that to reality or work as hard as possible to bring that to reality. Because I truly believe every single one of us is, I know it sounds cliche and corny, but it is true. We were all put here for a purpose.
Yes.
And I take that very seriously.
Yeah,
So.
I do too. And my listeners know that I'm a Jesus girl, but I have a potty mouth, so they know that. So you would not be at all if you have anything that's a faith-based statement. There's nobody that's going to stop you.
Okay.
So you can definitely share that. So how did you get started in your career path? And I'm going to take one step back because I did some research, of course, on you. And I noticed that you received some recognition for being one of the top 35 agents under 35 by the Orlando Real Producers in 2021. So I'd love for you to share with with my listeners more about your education, wherever you went to college. I know where that is, but I'm going to let you tell this. Your career path, and then how did you, get started with the book? Because you've touched on it, but you could definitely get to expand on it.
That's perfect. So we'll wind it back. So shout out to my mom specifically in this instance.
Met her.
Yes.
Yeah, she was there at the Orlando Science Center.
So I did go to the University of South Florida in Tampa. Yeah. Okay, but initially I wanted to go to UCF. I'm born and raised in Orlando, so that was my number one. But my mom, being the amazing woman that she said, you have to tour all the colleges in Florida, Diante. We're not just going to go to your first college. So I toured all of them. And right before UCF, because I saved the best for last in my brain, I went to USF in Tampa and blew my socks off. Right. I forgot what they're called, but
Mavericks, I think.
What's that?
Are they the Mavericks?
No, they're the Bulls.
Okay.
The Bulls. Go Bulls. Yep. But the lady who was guiding us, she just sold the school like crazy. And she sold me a dream and I bought it. So after I left, I was like, dang, I really like this school. But I got UCF next and I'm going to go there. And I don't know what was going on with the guide at UCF that day, but I did not feel it. At all. I did not feel it. I made a decision to go to USF.
You're a vibe guy, though.
Yeah, huge vibe guy.
Feeling the vibes there at Tampa.
Yep, huge vibe guys. So went to USF, graduated with a business management degree. And believe this or not, guys, I did not know I can own my own business until I graduated college and started reading books, right? So the initial plan was to be a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. And many of your listeners, I'm sure, have heard of the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yes, they have.
And that turned my life upside down. And I know it sounds crazy. A college educated business major at that did not know he could be his own CEO and open LLCs. And that just like, so I had that come to Jesus moment. I was like, I really don't want to be working for somebody. I want to not only be a CEO of one company, but as many as I can think of, because, I gain inspirations from the Mark Cubans of the world, the Jay-Z's, the Diddy's, the Jeff Bezos. And if you kind of look at all their dealings, there's multiple industries that have nothing to do with each other, so that is truly what I wanted to do. So I said, okay, Diante, what skill sets, what attributes do I have that I can start a business like right now? And it was real estate. So I've always been in sales, right? I've always been able to connect with people. So I was like, okay, I can start real estate as my vehicle to eventually create other businesses, do other different things. So that's how it started. Like you mentioned before, as I started my real estate career, the first 3 years I was investing. I got blessed once again. Some two mentors and partners took me under their wing, taught me the ropes of investing and everything like that. Graduated from one of them, right? And then I was like, dang, how do I continue this, trend forward? So I got my real estate license, okay, and started building my real estate, realtor business. And that's where the accolades started to come in regards to top 35 under 35. And that put me in the position to start my second business or third business, if you want to call it that, as Tay and the Believers.
Okay, so where did that name come from? And let's get into the whole book, children's books too.
So my name is Diante, right? So when I was thinking of my demographic and what I wanted this brand to be, I was like, I think it'll be a little hard for a 3-year-old to say Tay or Diante. And then I was like, okay, let me take that off, Tay. And I was like, that word is so easy for not only a 3-year-old, 2-year-old could say Tay, but it's such a catchy name that they can annoy their parents so much until they buy the book and the merchandise. So I was like, boom, Tay is going to be the brand name. So.
I will tell you, I teach Sunday school, and 2-year-olds, that's when they're actually starting to talk. So they would say it first. You would definitely see it there. 3-year-olds, that's the age group I teach. They're very conversive. So they would have it down. They would probably be able to say your name. So just so you know, you would be starting getting readers or listeners to your book at age 2, probably age 1.
Let's go.
Yeah, because really when you sell a book for children, you're selling it to adults.
Yes.
And so the adults are really learning from your book also.
Yeah.
I don't know if you realize that, but there's like multiple markets that you have there.
I didn't even think about it, but the interactions, I met you at the Orlando Science Center, and I do farmers markets almost every Sunday and, different events. It is very interesting in a great way.
Yeah.
The adults that I meet, how the book impacts them, like I won't say countless, but a number of times, a significant number of times, I've had people tear up in front of me, cry in front of me that are adults because of the book and where that brought them back, and them thinking about who their believers are and their child. So that was a great point that you brought up. It's not just for
no,
kids,
it's really for kids, because the life lessons, one of the things I like is children's movies, and I find them significantly great and rich in teaching life lessons and how to handle things. So you're really teaching the adults how to be really good parents. And I don't even know if you knew that, but that, and I was watching your booth a little bit because, we weren't directly related, but every time I would want to go over and chat, I was going, man, his book booth is like slamming everybody. You had everybody there, and they were all buying books.
Yeah.
So you had a really, you sold out, I'm pretty sure.
I made sure I had enough inventory, so I never want to sell out. So we bring over inventory, but we did very good. We did very good.
Yeah. You were busy.
Yeah.
I love that. So why don't you tell us a little bit about one of the books?
Okay. Yeah. And she mentioned one of the books because, you're really good. So the first book is Tay and the Believers. Okay. So the whole story about Tay, and here's a little fun fact that Tay, when you guys see the character on the book, that is me as a 5-year-old. Right?
Did you illustrate it?
No, my illustrator. I found him on a Facebook group, and I gave him that 5-year-old picture, and he created Tay, and I was like, "You're hired. You're not going anywhere. You're with me for the next 8 books. Don't go anywhere." So Tay and the Believers being the first book, it's about belief. Okay. In regards to when you read the book, Tay, the kid, he talks to his parents about his dreams all the time, and parents tell him to believe. And in his, 5-year-old brain, when he says, believe, believers, who are the believers? And how are they going to help me become a pro wrestler, a firefighter, an astronaut, a movie star? So he's on a journey to figure out who the believers are and how they're going to help him become all of these great things. So that's the the spark notes of the book.
That is really, really cool. So, does each one of your books, now I don't know the answer to this and didn't ask you this one, does each one of your books have some type of a major theme in it? If this one was belief, do you see the other books having a one-word theme?
Yes. So the next one is going to be, so the first one's belief, right? The next one is going to be about friends. Okay. Then we're going to have love, responsibility, but I like the term I like to use is medicine in the candy, because I love to use the imagery for the kids to have fun with it, but it plants that subliminal seed, because no one likes being told what to do, but ultimately we want them to grow into great young, boys and girls,
right,
with belief, with responsibility, with love, with joy, with dreams, so yeah.
I love that. That is great. And you have some really big plans for this too.
Yes,
So what are those plans?
Yes. So the goal, the 30,000 foot up goal is Tay-Tay. The Tay-Tay brand is now going to be the children's book brand, right? So overtaking Dr. Seuss. So it's not Dr.
That's
Seuss.
big.
Yeah.
That's
the big 30-foot goal, right? Where we're coming for it, coming for that throne. So it's going to be that type of brand, that brand. But in addition to that, the 8-book series, but it's going to go into TV shows, movies, merchandise, because of the imagery, right? That's what I feel like I'm putting, like I said before, to be an example to these young kids, but not telling them what to do. They just grow up. That's how I kind of gained a lot of my principles. I was watching. You could tell me all you want, and I'm sure you can attest to that. You can tell me anything, but I'm going to watch your actions. I'm going to watch who you are, and that's what's going to resonate with me. So that's the whole purpose of the brand, to show this next generation, especially if they don't have that. Once again, going back to one of the 5 characteristics, being blessed. I know I was blessed having both my parents in my life.
Yeah.
I know I was blessed having such a loving family. I know I was blessed with not only just my family, but my friends' family treating me like family. So I'm also aware of, and not naive, that everybody doesn't have that. So I see this brand as being that family for those kids that don't have anything. You
know what? This just struck me. You should get involved with Pizza Hut. They have a book it program. They still do this. And then that means that everybody reads your book.
Dang.
And then they actually get a stamp for it. So you could get your book out there in a really
I never
big
thought
way.
about that. I'm going to take this note right here. Pizza Hut. Let's go.
Pizza Hut for sure. And then there's also some prizes for children's literature. I was an English major, but for my one time before I started teaching, I worked in a library. So there's different prizes for children's books, and one of them is the Caldecott. Caldecott Caldecott Award. You should apply to see if your book gets picked up for any of those awards. There's more than that, but that's like another story.
And audience, you see what I mean by blessings?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just knowledge, just drop. Boom, boom.
Yeah. And you're really dealing a lot with, diversity, equity, and inclusion with how you're positioning these books so that children can see. I'll go to the quote that I found also, where you said why you did it is you wanted to make sure every person in America has seen who they are and not as a stereotype. And I love that, because you weren't focusing on any race or religion. You're just saying a person, that they're seen and they're heard. And so I think that you're going to get a lot of followers and a lot of fans based on just that one statement, because it's very inclusive.
Yeah, for sure. And it's important. And especially the genesis of it is, one, growing up, I didn't have a book like that. Right. And we don't realize how significant and impactful it can be by simply growing up and seeing something in someone that looks like you. But also the fruit off of that tree is other people, other ethnicities that, there's regions in the world that we're not exposed to other people, but simply seeing a movie, reading a book, a TV show introduces you to those people's world and eradicates prejudices and stereotypes, because now you have a positive image to go off of that you've grown up. And if you've watched kids interact, the the ignorance and the bigotry is all learned behavior at the end of the day.
Those 3-year-olds at church, they don't see any of that.
Yep.
They just see, I just like you.
Yep.
And they just run to kids
Yep.
and it's just so pure.
Yep.
Is honestly what I would call it for
Yep.
the most part. It's very pure.
Mhm.
It feels good.
Mhm.
Anyway, that's why I like those ages too.
Yep.
So nice.
So innocent.
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. So let's talk more about becoming this author of this whole book series. Do you
Mhm.
see this as the career path that's going to take you away from your real estate? Or you mentioned being a CEO and having
Mhm.
lots of different, I have 5 different companies that I run too, and they're very different from each other. So I
Mhm.
identify with that. What else are you thinking about? I'm going to guess you're going to be an astronaut. I'm pretty sure.
Well, with SpaceX, they're going to make that possible. So that dream is going to come true, one day. But that is a great question. And no, I will not. It's going to be another business, right? So my real estate business still will be running, right? Ultimately, we would have, team members to help support it a little bit more, right? As, Tay continues to rise, because like I said, I'm not just looking for it to be a book, TV shows, movies, merchandise, right?
Like VeggieTales.
Yeah, exactly.
VeggieTales was super popular, and you're going to be the next one above
we're
that.
Talking Rugrats, Pixar, that type of huge brand. So there'll still be a real estate business running. There'll still be my book brand running, my media brand running, but also speaking, right? I love Shark Tank. I look to, in a perfect world, have the means to be a angel investor, right? Developers. So like I said, what really attracts me and what I see myself being is that example to, hey, if I can do it, right, you can do it, right? All those dreams in Tay and Believers were all the dreams that I had as a kid. And I still think like that as an adult in regards to an idea in a business that pops up, different products. I see I can own 10 successful businesses that are highly successful.
So I'm going to give you 2 others that I think that I'm going to connect you to. One is Black Orlando Tech. Do you know any of those
I've
people?
seen that on like Meetup before, and I think I went to one of their, no, probably was another one because someone threw an event last year. I don't know if it was Mike Felix. It literally popped up on my Instagram. He runs that. Okay.
So you should go there, because I will tell you, tomorrow night, I pulled it up on my calendar. It's success stories, inspiring Black women in tech and their journeys to the top. So I'm going to that. It's over at Credo Conduit, downtown Orlando, because I think you mentioned you're down there.
Yep. That's where my office is.
Okay. Well, you're right around the corner then. Yeah. So you should definitely check that one out. And then there is a new company that has purchased the building that Orlando Game Space is in, and it's Black Business Investment Fund. So there's people that you should definitely meet, and maybe I can help make some of those introductions, but hope you go check them out tomorrow night.
You gave me a lot of homework. I got Pizza Hut. I got the Coldecott Award, the Black Tech, the Black Business Investment Fund. But I'm gonna take all these blessings, people.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. Yeah, because one of the great things about the BBIF is they also are looking to do investment, and so you never know.
That's powerful.
Yeah,
that's powerful. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I know I'm sharing it on the air, but it's there to share.
I heard it's there to share. And you hear a lot of successful entrepreneurs. It doesn't matter. I can tell you how to, if I were someone that knew how to make $1 billion, right? I could give the audience a formula and less than 1% would do it.
Yeah.
Right. So it doesn't matter. That's why you always share, especially in my real estate business. Some people ask me, why do you share so much? Why are you sharing those tips? It's like, one, because this person asked and I want to see them grow, because real estate has helped change my life. And if I could do that for somebody, I would love to do that. But 2, it doesn't hurt me to do it, because unfortunately, a lot of people don't want to put the blood, sweat, and tears into it, right? Which
well,
you
they get tired. Yeah, it takes a lot of time. So on my vision board, there's this old dilapidated castle. It's right off of it's in its own little island, and it's between Canada and New York, somewhere in there. And I looked at this and it's on my vision board. And I go, I want to buy that and turn it into an Airbnb.
Whoa.
And so you can go back into time and be in this old timey
I
castle.
love that goal.
Yeah.
I love that
So
goal.
it's real estate. So you'll have to teach me some
Boom.
stuff about real
I
estate.
got you.
I know nothing. Well, I know something, but not like what you do. That's for sure. So being a producer of a TV series, how do you see that working out? Because I'm going to guess that's one of your other companies.
Yes.
Same product, but different type of production.
Right. So that's a great question. And here's a window into who Diante is. The answer to that question is I have no idea. Right.
You're going to learn.
Yep. I'm a macro brain. So I have the big idea. I'm the jump off the cliff and pick up the pieces later kind of guy. So I have the macro idea, Tay-Tay's world. We have the TV show, and then we'll put the pieces together. It's funny you do mention this. I am working on a short film right now as we speak. It's going to be a quick 2 to 3 minute short film that is kind of going to be a pilot to give people an idea of what we're expecting for the Tay-Tay brand, and it'll be a good mechanism to shop to people. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So. All right. Well, that's super exciting. And you have apparel.
Yeah.
So you're also in the clothing line.
Well, that hasn't been released yet, but that is the goal. You know what I mean? So the merchandise. So this year, and like I said, being a macro brand, you can have a lot and never do anything. So this year specifically, we're focused on getting that second book out this year and that short film this year. Right. So those, Lord willing, go smoothly and without a hitch. Then probably Q4 we'll start moving towards the merchandise. But yes.
Okay, I'm going to give you another tip here then.
Here we go. Here we go.
So
did you tell me about the toys?
I did not.
Okay.
But I can tell you about apparel for sure. So I have t-shirts and we have water bottles and stuff like that. And we go and sell our merch on Redbubble. And it's on demand. But there's a lot of people out there or companies out there where you can actually get your merchandise out there more quickly. And then you're just setting it up as a store and people can come along and purchase it. Yeah. So it's on demand. Redbubble.
On demand. Okay. I guess we just.
So you can do stickers. We have stickers there. We have t-shirts. We have hoodies. We have water bottles. We have caps. And
you see this? Just spit up.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah. So you could actually start that merch store now and have it on the same Tay-Tay's World website.
Okay.
Yeah.
Say no more.
Yeah, it's going up there.
Let's go.
It's a year ahead of schedule.
Yes, literally. But what is the saying? You make 5 year, you'll be surprised at how much you can accomplish in 1 year that you plan for 5 years.
Yeah.
Right. So you're
consistent.
a living testament.
Yeah, but consistent. Yep. You're going to make that stuff happen.
Facts.
I'm totally believing in that. Yeah. I would bet on you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I totally would. So those are truly, like I said, really big goals. And you mentioned some of the other things that are coming up here, but let's talk about some quotes. What is the favorite quote that you live by? I love this one.
Yes. Successful men do daily what unsuccessful men do occasionally.
And we'll also spin that over there for women, right?
Yeah. You guys understand. This is a very educated audience, nuance. You understand. But man, it just so much in so little.
It resonated.
Yeah. And I was sharing the story. I didn't even mean to hear the quote. I was at my cousin's house in Houston. We were eating breakfast in the kitchen. They had a TV in the background just playing. It was this pastor. I don't even remember what pastor it was. Talking the whole time we're down there. But for whatever reason, my ears keened in right when he said that sentence. And I was like, whew. That's going to stick with me for the rest of my life. Yep.
I'm going to remember it. So whoever that pastor is, we give you credit for it. But, probably I'm sure it came from something that's in the Bible, more than likely. Sadly, I can't cite those things. How about the hardest lesson that you learned and it changed your life?
And I don't want to use the word struggle with this. When I get this question and I think about it, I mentioned before how my brain is wired.
Yeah.
So we all been through things. How my brain is wired when those things happen, it doesn't necessarily register as hard. So I say all that to say, when you ask that question, I'm like, I don't know, because when hard things happen in my life, I am able, as a talent, a God-given gift, to flip it to a positive. Say,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going through this because I'm being prepared for this,
Yeah.
right? This is happening because I need to be more of this. You know what I'm saying? It never registers to me as, okay, this goes in Deante's hard box in life. You know, this is just the pool of learning for me. So I'm not able to answer that question. I mean, you know,
but you did. It is an answer. And I think it's super inspiring, because for listeners that are hearing this, they may not have thought, oh, I have a choice.
Yeah.
And you actually have played on the fact that there is a choice. It doesn't have to be seen as, this is the end of the world.
Yeah.
Some girl broke my heart, or, you know, my dog died, or, you know, whatever. These things happen in life.
Which have happened, right?
Yeah. But you turned it into something as, it can be positive.
Yeah.
And that's a choice.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, it shapes you, who you are and who you're going to be.
Yeah.
You know, depending on how you translate it in your brain. I'm a firm believer in that. So.
Oh, totally. Totally. I mean, it's going to resonate with me for a little while there. So who in your life has had the biggest impact, and how so?
And I love your questions, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
They're so good, thought-provoking. For me, it's not one person. You've heard the term, it takes a village, right?
Yeah.
So it's not one person, it's my family as a whole, right? Going from my mom, my dad, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins, like I was mentioning before, my friends, like my best friend, his parents are my parents, right? I call them my second parents. So all of them has just influenced me and have been phenomenal examples, right? And have been responsible for shaping who I am. So that is the answer to my question. My village, for sure.
Is your mom a writer by chance, or is she in education?
Nope. not I know of. Nope, never been a writer or anything like that. No.
Yeah. The reason why
my uncle, though, he's used to be a editor in Rochester, New York. So newspaper. Yep. So he used to run that.
I usually think of some of the things that you picked up, like, you know, honestly, writing and the focus on children, because you don't have any children, right?
I do not.
Yeah. So that seems like that would have been an influence, maybe from your mom if she was a teacher. And I was just trying to see, how did those dots maybe get connected without even realizing it?
Well, really, it was more so about impact. So the reason why is, to be honest, older people, right, that are stuck in their ways, I don't want to expend energy. Just to be honest, expend energy trying to reshape your mind, especially if you're stuck on it.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like my impact is going to be so much greater for the next generation, and the generation after that, and the generation after that, which has less baggage, which has more of a blank canvas. Because I look back at my impressionable years, they were so positive, right? So now, as I become a young adult, a young man, from those experiences, I'm unshakable in my principles and my beliefs, because that upbringing was so positive. So that's why I decided to, okay, let me do a children's book brand, because I believe I can impact the next generation, who's then going to impact the generation after that and the generation after that.
Yeah, well, because they become the parents too. But a lot of what you're saying is, I love, again, 3-year-olds. And I have found that I have learned so much from being in children's ministries about how to work with adults. And that's why I see the correlation between writing that book and the impact that you have on the adults that you won't even realize.
Yeah.
And you should probably track, I don't know if you keep the metrics on who buys the books, whether it's a man or woman. It's hard to tell, right? Unless you're ordering.
It's primarily women. Okay. Well, in my interactions at the farmers markets and stuff like that, is primarily the moms that stop.
Yeah.
Right. The moms that stop. Oh, this is a good job. I never thought about this. So if they're in a family, right, primarily it's the mom that stops and gets the book. Now, if it's just exclusively father and son, the dad always stops and gets the book, right?
Do the kids stop?
Yes, all the time.
And so that makes the parents stop.
Yep. So they'll stop and look at the book. That I love sharing this story. So one of the farmers markets I do is over in Waterford Lakes. Okay. So you guys can just imagine the parking lot is where they have the farmers market. So just imagine about 50 feet away from my booth, there's other booths. So you can walk, there's walkways. So there was a little boy and his mom just walking hand in hand. Well, she wasn't walking hand in hand. She had let him, walk next to her. He's probably about 4 or 5. He stops and his mom keeps walking, right? And his mom, you know how mom has sixth sense. They kind of feel the kid's not
there's
there.
There's no kid next to him.
He's standing looking at my book. He's probably looking at it for 3 seconds or so.
Yeah.
And I can hear her like mouthing his name. And he didn't move. All he did was point to the booth. And then she looks up and looks across, sees my banner, sees my book, walk over. Easiest sell ever made. Yeah. Right. But when you guys see it, the illustrations really are what captivates the kids and stops them.
Yeah, they were very engaging. Yep. Yeah, definitely. Yep. And one of the things that I also noticed at your booth is that your book, you're Black, and it's about a little Black boy.
Yep.
But I saw all different races at your booth, and I went, that is beautiful, because that really demonstrates how it's really the story.
Yes.
And well, maybe the picture, but they have to open the book to read the story to go, I can relate to this.
Yep.
So your words have such power.
I appreciate that. And that was the purpose, right? One is for, like I was mentioning before, me growing up as a young Black boy, having something to be proud of and look up to and have a positive imagery of it. But the fruit off of that tree is exactly what you mentioned, because ultimately, like you said, at the booth, Muslim, white, Black, Asian, the story just captivates, the visuals captivate, and that subliminal imagery of positivity and dreaming is what resonates. And that's, been a blessing with the book.
Here's something to think about too.
Go ahead.
The Bible. It speaks to all races and ethnicities, right?
Yes.
We know that. So maybe your book is doing the same.
Dang. Yeah. See, hey, she put a lot of weight on my shoulders.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, because iron sharpens iron.
Iron sharpens iron. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Some of those things are very subliminal. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back to our show where we're going to talk about more about the future of work and what that's going to look like.
Transcend Network helps early-stage startup founders find product-market fit through weekly experiments, receive fundraising support, and build a global founder-investor network for EdTech and the future of work technologies. The Intern Whisperer is affiliated with Employers for Change, and we thank Transcend Network for being a sponsor of our show.
And so welcome back to our show. My guest is Diante Lawrence. He's the author of Tay-Tay's World. And I think I got it right.
Tay-Tay and the Believers.
Tay-Tay and the Believers. Thank you. Anyway, we're going to be talking more about what does the future look like for either jobs and or industries. He's in a couple of industries, real estate, entertainment, because that's going to be where your TV shows and movies are. And then we'll look at writing also as a whole. So what do you think that's going to look like? And let's make sure, if we're talking about writing, ChatGPT.
Yeah. So that's a great question in regards to ChatGPT and the influence of writing. And I was thinking about this recently about how it's going to impact writing. What I've noticed thus far, yes, a computer or a robot can write something, but have you ever heard the term of, when you're reading a book, you can hear the person's voice? I don't ever see AI being able to encapsulate the soul of the writer.
See, I was thinking that too. Have you played with ChatGPT?
Yeah, of course.
Me too. Of course. And I sat there and I went, okay, I played with it. It's written some really cool stuff. It's given me a different way of looking at how to expand my vocabulary. But it sounds very natural. You can actually ask it to write in a certain person's voice. So one of the guys from my group said, okay, write this, but like Snoop Dogg. And it sounds just like him. That sounds like him. So it can capture some of those things. But what ChatGPT does very well is it pulls together all of that information out
Mhm.
in the world that we've been putting out, good and bad.
Yep. Yep.
So I
Yep.
feel like some of the jobs that we would see in the future would be people that would make sure that it's been cited correctly,
Yep.
that it's not false
Never thought about that.
information,
Yep.
you
Mhm.
know, that
Mhm.
it's really true. And then I use it just really as a way to create a draft, and then I
Right.
go
Me
in
too.
and enhance it.
Me too. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Same here. Just to get the engine running, you know, because
Yeah.
sometimes you like, dang, I have a kind of a concept, but just give me something to jumpstart it.
Mhm.
And, oh, I didn't even think about that. Let me expound upon that. Insert my voice, insert my
Yeah.
spirit into it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely. It's really good for that.
Mhm.
But what do you think for writers? A lot
Yeah.
of writers are concerned that's going to take away their jobs. I don't
I
think
personally
so.
don't think you should be. Now, I'm speaking from an author's perspective,
Sure.
not in regards to, you know, if you're writing an article in what magazines are there
Yeah. Pick
nowadays?
New York Times.
New York Times or something like that. You may run into some issues, but even then, there's still a voice that corresponds with the person writing.
Mhm.
So I don't feel like you should be worried, especially if you're writing a book, if you're writing a piece about somebody. I don't see there being a issue. I don't
Mhm.
see your jobs being taken in that regard. Now maybe research and stuff like that, you know, you can have a problem, but the one thing that the AI can't do is always going off of what has already been done.
Mhm.
The beautiful thing about us and our brains is we create the future,
Mhm.
right? So we'll always be ahead of it in regards to our ideas and what we put pen to paper.
Mhm.
So that is your advantage as an author, the ideas that you're blessed with, that you're put on this earth for. So I don't see it in that regards. I don't fear it in that regards. So
Mhm.
I'm not one of the people on the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the sky's falling. I'm sure, you know, back in the internet days when the internet came out, everybody thought
Nobody
the
was
world.
going. It was horrible, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. What
Yep.
is it? It's going to
Yep.
come and, take away our jobs, and
Yep.
it's actually produced more jobs, and that's what's going to end up happening here. We're
I
going to
believe the
see
same
that.
thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I've seen a lot of professors at school, like through LinkedIn and other things, share their best practice ideas. So
Mhm.
they say, here, I want you to write the article, have
Mhm.
Chat GPT do that for you.
Mhm.
And then I want you to expand on that
Mhm.
and really take it, because you may see that, oh, well, this is one way of doing it. There was concern, because I'm in an ed tech sector of technology, that professors were not going to be able to know, was this really written by the
Yeah,
student
yeah,
or
yeah,
not?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then they were having Chat GPT grade
Great, yeah.
the papers that were there.
Yeah,
And
that's
so they were
hilarious.
saying, oh, okay, so can it take a teaching assistant there?
Yeah.
Yes and no. I'm going to say no, really, because, and in that order, yes, it can
Yeah.
be something that you can use for that way, but no, because it loses the humanness
Yeah.
of it. And
Yeah.
we need to make sure that we harness, and that we are the ones that are the stewards of
Mhm.
what's going into the future.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be and I mean, we've already have systems, at least when I was in college, 2013, they already had the, you know, copyright thing. Like every time you submitted a paper,
Mhm.
it was ran through a system. So I don't see how a teacher's assistant will be replaced in that regard.
No,
So,
because
you know,
you still want humans to check
yeah, yeah,
things that are human.
yeah.
Yeah, there
Mhm.
has to be. There has
Yeah.
to be. So what do you think is going to happen in the real estate industry? Because they have moved real estate
Mhm.
to online
Yes,
sales.
yes. So a big thing in real estate is the best marketer wins, right?
Okay, explain. What do you
So
mean? Yeah.
is
I
there.
never really think about real estate. I mean, yes, it's marketing,
Mhm.
but you're there to have a personal connection to make sure that you're finding the humans
Mhm.
the best place. So it's
Yep.
not just marketing.
Yep.
It's
Yep. So in regards to, we just have to look at the day and age we
Mhm.
are. You we'll just use the word consumer.
Yeah.
You have all the faculties you need to
Mhm.
learn and about buying a house and this and that and this and that, right? So
Mhm.
how do you differentiate yourself? How do you add value to a client who has the internet
Mhm.
now for real estate, right? Marketing is a component to that,
Yeah.
right? It builds a know, like, and trust. So as you continue to see my video and continue seeing me educate you on the region and the area and different tips and tricks that you need to consider, it does that subliminal thing that, hey, I could trust this guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when I go to buy a house, yes, I've done some research, and it's similar to, what's the I mean, I could represent myself in a courthouse.
Sure.
Right. But do I want to do that?
No.
No. And it's the same thing with buying a home. So in regards to the technology moving forward, whether it's Chat GPT and all of those things, what I've seen is people still want to have a human because they trust that more. Right. Because in addition to, like you're mentioning, things are online. You know what comes with online? Fraud.
Yes.
Right. So you want someone to guide you through it. Hey, don't submit that. Hey, you need to call this number. Especially wire fraud is, one of the biggest scares when you're buying a house or selling a house, because you have large sum of money transferring. Right. So people not only having that know, like, and trust in their realtor, I see is always going to be there, but it's on the agent, the real estate professional, to market themselves as the market leader, as the local representative that's going to take care of that family with buying and selling their house. But the technology is going to be there. It's going to continue to grow. It's not going anywhere.
No, it's just going to keep getting better.
You have to adapt. And if you're doing the same things that you're doing 5 years ago, you will be put to the wayside, because that's not what this day and age is.
No. And it moves super fast.
Yep.
And every day, I don't know about you, I open up my phone, I go, oh, look, there's new changes to this and this and this. To 10 apps that I use, and pick anything else and updated terms and conditions. And it's just always so much.
Exactly. And that's what we're experiencing now, is just staying ahead of it, staying on top of it, and making sure you're giving the most accurate and trustworthy information to your people, because they're relying on you.
Yeah, I think trust is
paramount.
Yeah, it's everything. Because when I'm buying from anybody, like I had somebody reach out to me on LinkedIn, and this happens every day also in emails. Here, I want to help you with this and this and this. I know. And so on LinkedIn, somebody said, so I've sent you three notifications, but I haven't heard from you. I said, you don't know me. You don't know me, and I don't know anything about you. You're wanting to sell something and you know nothing about me. If you take the effort to get to know me, then, you've got my attention. But right now, no, I'm not going to.
And just think about that. A lot of that is automated.
Yes.
Right. And people, you just mentioned, pick up on that. Oh, this is an automated message. I don't want to deal with this. Same thing with the real estate space, right? A lot of it is automated. You get automated emails, even though you have a picture avatar. You don't want that. That didn't feel good to you.
No.
Right. So that's how we differentiate ourselves as business professionals, entrepreneurs, realtors, whatever industry you are. And it's funny you mentioned that.
Yeah. Because it is keeping human what should be human.
Yes.
It is making sure that I'm working on a book also. I'll tell you about it offline. Yeah. But I feel like there's this place where everything is online so much. And because of COVID, we began to, I think there was a conspiracy there to try and pull us apart.
Yeah.
And people began to feel super isolated. And we're going to have to remember that we're made for relationship.
Yes.
We need this, that we're humans. This is what we need. And so I feel like there's going to be a movement to teach people how to be relationship or focused, and how to be human to human instead of automated.
And a microcosm of that, what I've experienced in my own business, especially my book business, a lot of parents are going away from tablets. They specifically say, I'm buying this hardcover book. We have a literal library because we want to limit the tablet time of our child, right? And this perfect microcosm of that, relationship, getting back together. Like, they're reading these kids their books over and over and over and over. I recently posted a picture on my Instagram where a father fell asleep with the book.
Your book?
My book, while he was reading to his son, and they're both asleep in the bed, right?
I think I saw that on your Instagram feed.
Yeah. That
was cute.
It's priceless. It's priceless. And that goes further than a tablet would ever go. Just that, 5 minutes, 10 minutes for that child.
Yeah.
So,
Did you know it's related that they've stopped teaching cursive handwriting a long time ago in the school system?
Yeah, I believed it because I was writing cursive and I forgot how to write any other letter besides my name.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I talked to a lot of teachers. Teachers have been probably, I would, yeah, they've probably been my biggest supporters
Mm-hmm.
and pushing the book, getting it to administrators, principals, school boards.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of let me know that fact and keep me up to date on what's going on in the school system. I was like, yeah, cursive's gone. We're done.
Yeah, that's really sad
Yeah.
because people are companies are accepting digital
Yeah.
signatures instead of real signatures.
Mhm.
And there's going to be a day that, everything, the internet, everything will go down
Mhm.
and people will not know how to do some of these
Yep.
things. And I'm going, writing is going to be
Uh-huh.
super important because people are going to go, I only know how
Yeah,
to type.
Yep.
Yeah, or on my phone and
Mhm.
oh, here's paper
Yep.
and here's something to write with.
Moment of honesty. Sometimes
Yeah.
I forget how to spell, right? Because
Don't we all?
I don't have my red squiggly line telling me
Yeah.
this is wrong. So that's
Yeah.
the truth.
Yeah. We don't have the spell correct on
Yep.
it. Yeah. Yeah. It's so true. Yeah. So what about robots?
Robots.
AI, well, we've talked about, certainly
ChatGPT.
automations, but augmented reality, virtual reality. Thoughts?
Man. That's where the just brain just goes to overload. So metaverses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Can you see your book being something like that?
well, the book brand is called Tay-Tay's World.
Yeah.
Right. So I already imagine, beyond theme parks of Tay-Tay's World, because Islands of Adventure for my people who aren't in Florida is a theme park in Universal Studios, but
Yeah.
has Dr. Seuss Land, right?
Yeah.
So I see Tay-Tay's World being something like that as well in a
Mhm.
theme park, but also you have the metaverse. So just imagine going into Tay-Tay's World metaverses, space where
Mhm.
you can get on that rocket ship, where you can wrestle a pro wrestler, where you can be in the NBA, right? And you can kind of
Mhm.
do all these things, and you can go to a Tay-Tay Academy and
Mhm.
learn something, right? You can learn, I don't know, to be an engineer or a doctor or whatever you
Yeah.
imagine. So that's where I envision, it for, Tay-Tay's World in general. But overall, just the virtual reality, where it's going. I don't know if you've ever used the Oculus or what
I
have
work
you.
out of a game co-working space, dude.
Yeah.
And I can tell you on the outside of the building
Yep.
is a giant mural and you can
Yep.
download a QR code that allows you to scan that image and everything pops out
Yep.
at you. And so
Yep.
that's what I was doing at the science center.
It's crazy.
We had postcards.
Mhm.
And so you could honestly take your book and you don't need an Oculus.
Mhm.
You just have to have a phone and then boom, all of your characters are coming out. Like I can hook you up with people that can do
level. Let's go. Another
Yeah.
jump. Drop
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Definitely.
So I'm excited about it. Like we're living in the future.
Yeah.
It is scary. I'm not gonna lie, but it's not gonna stop. One thing that we know
Mhm.
as humans is it's always gonna go forward. So
Yep.
you're gonna either need to roll with it or get rolled over. It's not
Yeah.
going back in the tube.
No.
So why not just be excited about it, right? Like you mentioned before, of course, we'll manage it for as best as we can for the good. Unfortunately, where there's sun, there's darkness, right?
Yeah.
But utilizing it for as positive as we can to overshadow that, there's some powerful things that we'll be able to do with this AI and technology, and just I just think about the movies growing up, and it's like holograms and stuff. They're here. It's exciting.
Yeah. So I don't think the darkness has to be, first off, darkness is created for a reason where we're supposed to rest. And that's where
Yeah.
dreams come from and ideas come from.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I love
so
that.
you don't have to be
Yes.
afraid of it. It's supposed to be where everything gets regenerated.
Man, I've never heard that. Like,
Yeah.
boom. That's my aha for this. Wow, I've never heard that.
Yeah.
Sorry, audience. If
That's
I'm
okay.
in your ear
Maybe
right
they're
now.
not thinking of it
Yeah.
either. Yeah.
That is great.
Yeah. So
Ooh, that's great.
it's not a bad thing. It's a good
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
That is incredible.
Yeah. Thanks.
Have you said that before?
Yes.
Man,
Yeah.
I've never heard that. Wow.
I've said it to myself for
Yeah.
sure. I'm not quite as positive as you. I think I'm pretty positive, but you're like another level, I think. But I also look for it and go, okay, well, what is it that I can learn from that? And so, they tell you get 8 hours of sleep or however many.
Yeah.
And that's where your body is all regenerating. It's healing. It's getting washed and cleaned on the inside. So
I love that. I'm using that. Wow.
You can. Just make sure you cite me.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
In every speech, you're going to know. They're going to know.
That's okay. Yeah. So what ethical dilemmas do you think could be coming up here? Because I could honestly, I'm going to go back one step. I could see that you could take a robot in your Tay-Tay's world, and that robot could be the thing that pops out of there. But maybe that robot is, the friend of Tay-Tay, whatever. Right. So you're moving that child into the future.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm throwing ideas out all over the place.
I don't know. I haven't got that far.
Yeah.
In regards to ethical dilemmas.
We'll go back to that question. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But so you were asking kind of what can I think of that I'm going to use with virtual reality and stuff like that?
No, I'll stay with the ethical dilemmas. What do you think could possibly come up with? It doesn't have to be related to your book.
Yeah.
I feel like you pointed out fraud.
Yeah.
That is an ethical dilemma. Yeah. Like people are using Chat GPT to write, and then it's like, oh, but where did you get that source? Yeah. Where did you cite your sources? Yeah. Now, I asked Chat to do that. I said, give me a 5-paragraph essay about, I asked it to do it on multidimensional learning, include citations from sources. And then I gave my name because I wrote an article about it. And it did. It gave me that. And it cited me, but it cited 2 other people. And I went, okay, maybe. But it was really short. It wasn't very robust. Ethical, if you don't ask for citations, you don't know where it's pulling from. And that's where fraud steps. Yeah.
But even taking it to a step,
plagiarism,
but even a step further, imagine somebody writing something saying it's you, right?
Yeah.
They're already, I'm sure you've seen this, mimicking voices.
Yeah.
Right. So you can imagine the nefarious things that can go on. We're going to have to find a way how to, validate this is Diante's voice. You know what I'm saying? Things of that nature when we're talking about virtual reality and, holograms and stuff like that. Just imagine in the future, a hologram could be a mask now.
Well, there's something on Netflix that you should see. And I'm going to tell you, I've talked about this on a couple of other, more than a couple. One is Black Mirror. Have you seen it?
That's on my list. I haven't had time
to
binge
you
watch
have got to see that show. It is terrifying. Everybody, it is like everything that you would not want to see.
Yeah.
But then there's another show that Netflix has, and it's called The Future Of. And it says exactly some of those same things. So it deals with the fact that when somebody dies, before they die, they can go and record themselves. And then it becomes a hologram. So you can constantly talk, and that voice, because it's picking up the speech patterns and the way that somebody would say something. So it sounds exactly like your mom talking to you when your mom is no longer here. So look for that one, The Future Of, because it talks about human composting. It talks about building, cities out of, they would all be plant-based and not plant-based materials, but then you're growing your own food inside of your house, and you need botanists to maintain your building. It's just, it's so incredible.
So you're giving me something. I have so much on my Netflix list.
Well, they don't have like tons of things there, but
I'm way back. That's how backed up I am with shows.
But those 2 shows are really, really something to watch. And then there was something else on Netflix I liked a lot. Coded Bias. Yeah. Ooh. And that was about facial recognition and how these MIT students are given these little mini grants to go and actually observe how facial recognition is being used. And that's why in TikTok and Instagram, they give us all of these filters because they're picking up our faces.
I knew that. Yeah.
And they're having a lot of trouble. They can do it really well with white people, but they have a lot of trouble doing it with people of color.
Really?
Yeah. And so that's where it can begin to become ethical dilemma.
Yeah.
Something where somebody is being arrested that it wasn't supposed to be.
I never thought about that. Dang.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
So definitely go check those shows out.
More homework.
Yeah, they'll blow your mind for sure. For sure. Well, we have really come up to the end of the show, so it's so hard to
I could
believe.
do this all day.
We could. We definitely could. But what is the best mentoring advice that you want to share with our listeners? That is either something. Now, I didn't prep you for this one. So, yeah. So, this is going to be either something you want to share with people in business, or it doesn't matter. It's just something that you received or your own thoughts.
The best mentoring advice I can give is to always be accountable. Accountability will take you further than you can ever imagine.
Yeah.
Right. And to expound upon that, for when people are like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I was going to ask.
For instance, you shared a number of golden nuggets with me.
Thanks.
Right. So say I can go and say, oh man, she never gave me the website and she never told me about the person, and that's why I wasn't successful. Right. And I see it a lot in my industry.
But people love to blame others instead of being accountable.
Exactly. And that's what I would give as a mentoring advice. Look in the mirror. If you're not getting the results that you are looking for, whether it's in life, business, relationships, it's your fault.
Yeah.
It's your fault. I don't care.
Because you always have a choice.
You always have a choice. Yes, we've all been through some crap. Yes, we all don't have the best cards, but you are responsible for the situation that you're in, and you can change it. So being accountable is key. So, hey, if I'm not, making my sales number, if I'm not making the money I want to, or if I don't have the relationship with my mom or my dad that I don't want to, it's my fault. Maybe I need to reach out to them. Maybe I need to forgive them for what they did to me, right? Or maybe I need to put in more work at my job. Hey, I don't care if my boss doesn't like me. I'm going to become undeniable, right?
Ooh, I like that.
So being accountable was what I would say.
And undeniable. Yeah, that's good. That's powerful. So what social channels can our listeners find you and reach out and connect? We definitely have tatesworld.com on there and your personal LinkedIn, but is there something else that you would like them to find you?
Yeah, definitely Instagram, guys. Tate's World Official is my Instagram. That's the most up to date. Of course, my Instagram is tied to the website as well, but we have a lot of interaction on that Instagram with the stories and the reels and stuff like that. So the Instagram, Tate's World Official, would be the best place. Of course, I'm on Facebook as well, Tate's World, but I'll steer you guys to that Instagram.
All right. That sounds good. Well, I have thoroughly enjoyed having you as a guest.
Thank you so much.
Really, really, really great. I think that certainly you're going to have a lot to do, but I'm going to have quite a bit to do too. I'm pretty sure. So you're going to give me things off the air that, okay, you might consider this and this and this. Because I said, hey, I've started a book and you're already published. So you're going to give me my list.
I got you.
Okay. Well, anyway, thank you for being on the show. And I just encourage you, hey, insider information, and I'm putting this on the air. We share this with our guests. So hopefully you're subscribing to our podcast on audio, but we also have it on our YouTube channel. So by the end of the year, whichever guest has had the most downloads in audio and the most views on YouTube, they come back to the show next year and we have a completely different conversation. They get a certificate for first, second, or third place.
First place.
Okay. Glad to hear that. That's how you think. You've already made your mind up. We put out a press release about that. And then we also do social promotion.
Boom. Okay. More homework. Let's go.
Yes. Yeah. Now your share, your not share, but your show, just so our listeners know, is going to air May 16th.
May 16th.
So that's when it goes out there and people can listen to it. But, if I've had over 1,200 downloads by one guest, and that was 2 years ago. You start now, you could be racking that up. But the actual contest, we throw it out there for everybody with links and there's snippets to drive traffic to your episode. That all goes out once you have it. But the game is officially announced in December, but whoever has the most.
Let's go.
And Johnny, who I told you I was going to
Uh-huh.
introduce you to, his show was one of the top 3.
Okay. All right, Johnny.
Yeah.
Even though we're friends, healthy competition.
Yes, it is. And he's an athlete. His show is Johnny Williams, and he was an NFL Jaguar over in
wow.
Jacksonville, football player.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Wow.
he's pretty cool. Yeah.
I love this.
Anyway, thanks so much, and I look forward to talking with you again soon.
Appreciate it.
Thank you to our sponsor, Cat 5 Studios, and thank you to our production team, producer and editor, Josue Gonzalez, and music is by Sophie Lloyd. Visit Employers for Change at www.e4c.tech to learn how you can create real diversity and inclusion culture while skilling your people for the future of work. Thank you for supporting the Intern Whisperer by subscribing to us on Podbean, on our YouTube channel, and also following us on your favorite streaming podcast channels.